Hey everyone, welcome. This is Jason Clemens, Doctor of Chiropractic at the Rock Health and Wellness Center, and this is Life with Jason Clemens, DC. We are live right here in the Rock Health and Wellness Center studios in Lubbock, Texas. We're on the radio at 98.7 Walk by Faith, 1420 AM, 987radio.com. We are streaming all over the world on Facebook, YouTube, and X, and we will soon be on the Walk by Faith Facebook page as well. Hope you guys had a great day. Man, this I got to tell you, this is probably one of the busiest days I've had in a long, long time. Solid from 6 a.m. this morning all the way through till right now with you. What a day! It was great. We've been doing that shockwave therapy, and we've been doing it on shoulders, and we've been doing it on knees and feet and hips. It's just been great. It really has. I have a high school girl that's an athlete, basketball player, and she pulled a quad early in the week, and we got in here, and she's going to have to miss part of the camps that she was doing this summer, which is a big deal to her because this is her opportunity to maybe earn a scholarship at college, and so these camps are really a big deal. And so she came and saw me on Monday, and she couldn't go. She's tough as heck too. So she couldn't go. She couldn't function because of that pulled quad. And we did some AMIT on that quad. We reestablished muscle function, proper muscle function. We did some shockwave and some radial wave on it, and I did some cupping. We did our with our glides, and we did. Of course we got her adjusted. That's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight. And then we did some rock tape, and I talked to her dad that night. She said she was much better. I talked to him the next day, which would be Tuesday, and she was going back to camp. She was, and I talked to her today, and she's pretty much full speed with her stuff, and was able to go through her practices, go through a game, and it's a practice. She said she lifted weights, she did some agility drills, and she was back going and getting after it. So, there's a lot of we're geared up for it now. We're geared up at the Rock Health and Wellness Center to help people to get them moving in the right direction in a lot of ways with the things that we've got going on. So, if you got athletes in your family, or if you got young kids in athletics, and you need a place that I understand athletes. I was in athletics. I can't say that I was an athlete, but I was in athletics for the first 29 years of my life. I competed at a very high level. I was a quarterback at Texas Tech. I coached college football for 6 years. I was a Big 12 assistant coach for the last 3 years. And I was actually a Big 12 assistant coach. I was a graduate assistant, then an assistant coach, but I was at Texas Tech for those last 3 years, and so I'm familiar with athletes. I've been around them my whole life. I know what it's like to be an athlete and be in competition and need to be able to function. And that's just one of the things that we do here at the Rock that we can help kids out. So it was really good that we were able to do that. And then you switched gears and you're like, we did the shockwave on a 70 something year old today. And we did the shockwave on multiple 60-year olds today. And I even did the shockwave on a knee of a dancer, a young girl she's probably about eighth grade, maybe. And she tweaked her knee. It was all swollen up. And so we did all that treatment on her today as well. We also used the laser. We also use the Erconia laser here, a cold laser, and it does wonders. So we had a gentleman drop a gate on his toe and busted that dude up, and it's all purple and blue, and it's probably fractured, but it's definitely all smashed. And we put that laser on him today. He's going to come back and get laser tomorrow, and then I'm gonna send him home with the laser over the weekend, and he's going to laser all weekend long. So that's going to increase the healing that what's going on in his toe as well. So lots of fun stuff. Lots of people keep asking me. They say, "Doc, where are you going? You got any plans to go somewhere this summer?" And I just, I thought about it last night because I had multiple people ask me that yesterday, and I was like, no. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand how important vacations are. I understand that changing your environment is a big deal. I understand that getting to see things different for your brain is a good thing. It's part of the reason I drove to Santa Fe this weekend. Drove there and back, over just quickly. Left on I think we left at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We got there at 9 o'clock, which was 8 o'clock New Mexico time. Walked around the plaza, got something to eat, went and found a hotel room. Got up the next morning at 5:20, 5:15. Got my daughter at 6, and then drove home. And so it was quick, but it was cool because I got to get my eyeballs on something different. I got to get out there and see something different out there in the world. And so that is a big deal to get out there and do that. But man, when you do chiropractic wellness stuff and you base it in functional neurology, it's like, what am I going to do? Go sit on a beach somewhere? Like what do I want to do that for? That doesn't even make any sense. I'd be going away from Lubbock. Like, what do I want to go away from Lubbock and go to some vacation destination for? Not when you got this job. Now I understand a lot of you guys. You guys don't have the luck that I have, and you may not have the same kind of job that I have. So I understand that for y'all might want to get out of town for a little bit, but man, not me. I don't really have any place to go. So maybe I'll go to Ruidoso and talk to Dr. Fraley up there, or go by Roswell and see my friends in Roswell, and maybe South Florida. Maybe we could go see Dr. Condi in South Florida and see how he's doing, and maybe he could teach me some things about neurology as well. So it was a good day. It's a good day and lots of fun going on at the Rock. So, man, for the last 2 nights, we have just gotten after it. And really 3 nights trying to break down this article that we got. We went through the last 2 nights, and I'm not bringing it back up from the pain management standpoint. I might bring it back up at the end just to show you the pathways that we kind of skipped over yesterday. But I think it was fun, especially last night. It was lots of fun, breaking all that stuff down, talking about Boswellia and all those different barks and cat's claw and all the things that can decrease your inflammation. And it just can't talk enough about how important that is. Keeping your inflammation under control. Not killing your inflammation when you need it, but just keeping it under control. So if you missed those shows last night, you could go to the Walk by Faith Facebook page and catch them, or you can go to the YouTube, not the YouTube, but YouTube at Health from the Rock, and you can catch those shows on YouTube if you missed them for the last couple nights, because they were pretty good. Tuesday, I think we broke down. Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. So I guess these last two. I guess I might have talked about a little bit of that on Monday, but anyway, I think it was Tuesday night we broke down my blood work, and then last night we kept going and talked about all that. So if you missed it, go back and check that out. So tonight, what I want to talk about is a couple different studies I was listening to this morning. MJ got me hooked up with this podcast. It's called The Chiro Factor, is what it's called. It's got two really passionate chiropractors. Dr. James Chestnut's one of them. You guys have heard me talk about him a lot. The Eat Well, Move Well, Think Well guy. He's been very influential in not just my life, but in chiropractors all over the world. And he does a great job. And then I don't know exactly how to say this. Brad Glowacki is the other guy. Glowaki, Brad. And he's got a really big practice as well. So those guys got together. They got this thing called the Chiro Factor. Dr. Chestnut has the term evidence-based chiropractic care. So he does a lot of research, and they were talking. And it was just refreshing to listen to him because, when you're 54 years old and you've been seeing patients and you're in your 21st year, you're in your 25th year of chiropractic in an office, sometimes, I guess you could say, sometimes you kind of have a little bit of a grasp about what you're doing. Sometimes I feel like I don't have a grasp of anything, but sometimes you kind of feel like you got enough experience, you got enough clinical experience, you got enough experience with patients, you've seen enough cases to where you kind of feel like, okay, I kind of got a little bit of an idea about what we're doing and kind of how this thing works. And luckily, I started in chiropractic in a very strong philosophical office with my brother-in-law. Got to spend many, many hours talking about health and wellness, talking about working through these things that you hear me say, like you bleed internally every like two teaspoons every time you take an aspirin, or that whole idea of when you get sick and you say, well, somebody gave it to me, and whether or not you needed Tylenol for a headache, all those sort of things. Those things that I say are not things that a lot of times were really quickly absorbed. It took me some time. It took me 12 years from the time I got my first adjustment till the time I started to understand chiropractic and the subluxation. So there was a process of metabolism. Sometimes when I'm talking about it now, it's just it's one of those deals where it sounds like it's just been natural and I've always done it that way, but that's not the truth. It was not natural to come about this information. And so it's kind of cool to be able to go through all those steps and then listen to some guys that are out there battling and trying to do the same thing and really getting after it. And then one of the questions one of the statements that they said, and I just wrote it down just for myself, but Dr. Chestnut was talking about this idea of what he does in his practice. And he just said this. He said the only difference between day 1 and day 1,000 is the frequency of the chiropractic visit. Adjustments, essential nutrients, drink water, get your sleep, all those things. Those are all things that we do on day 1. We make those recommendations for people on day 1. And we make those same recommendations for people in day 1,000. This is, what does an acute patient need that a wellness patient doesn't, and vice versa? And that was a question that I heard on his podcast. You guys are welcome. You can go check it out on YouTube, the Chiro Factor. But what does an acute patient need that a wellness patient doesn't? And if you're doing your practice in a wellness format and you really understand the fundamentals of what you're doing in a wellness format, then the only difference between the brand new patient and the patient that's been here for a long time is just the frequency of adjusting. Everything else is still part of the package. Making sure that we're eating well, moving well, and thinking well, as Dr. Chestnut says, right? Making sure that we are getting the proper nutrition that we need, making sure that we are getting the proper ratio of 6 and 3s and getting our B vitamins and making sure they're being processed and that our homocysteine is not too high and all those things that we talk about. That's what we start when somebody's brand new. And that's what we go to way on down the road. And I listened to it and I was like, that's exactly the way that I believe. I just believe the same thing. I don't believe in maintenance care. I don't believe there's such thing as maintenance care. I know that it's used. Dr. Chestnut uses it all the time. I just don't believe in it. I don't believe that you're in maintenance. I don't think we're in maintenance. Your body's in a breakdown. It needs to be refixed. That's active care to me. You're actively getting better. Because if you don't, you're actively getting worse. That's kind of how life is. You're not neutral. And all you guys listening that think you're in neutral, you're not. You're kidding yourself. You're not in neutral with your health. Your health is either moving forward and getting better, or your health is moving backward and getting worse. And there's not a middle ground. Now, you may be young, or you may be young and fit, or you may be fit. Any of those things could happen. You could be super fit and you may not be feeling the effects that's underlying. But those things are there. I had one of those doctor's reports this week. And I talked to the young girl. She's 28. And I talked to her, and it was like, look, you're so fit right now, and you're young that you're not feeling what's underneath it. But I'm telling you, just move into your 30s, get to be about 35, have some kids, and then see what happens like from 35 to 45 to 55, and then look at some of those underlying conditions that you have. And those underlying conditions have been there since your 20s, but you just didn't quite feel them, right? They didn't show up until you lost some of that. And what I'm saying is, in your 20s, you're either moving forward or you're moving backward. And in your 50s, you're either moving forward or you're moving backward every single day. If you're in your 70s, you're either moving forward or you're moving backward. I don't think there's a single person that I've ever met or ever talked to that's been around our office or come into my office that I don't believe they could be healthier next year than they are now. And there's actually a book, Healthier Next Year. I don't remember who wrote it, but MJ told me to read it, so I read part of that. The Healthier Next Year, I think we've actually talked about it on the show. Like, we got it around here somewhere. But I really don't think I've ever met somebody that if they were 35, that they couldn't be healthier than when they were 36. And I don't believe I've ever met somebody who's 65 that couldn't be healthier when they were 66. And I don't believe I've ever met a 75-year-old person that I didn't think could be healthier at 76 than they were at 75. I think everybody has the opportunity to be healthier next year if they just go to work on it. But you got to go to work on it. You can't ignore it. You can't coast. You can't put it in neutral. You can't not do it. And there's multiple conversations. Debbie and Zay and I this morning in the 6 o'clock class were talking about things we say. We finished the workout. We did an aerobic type workout today. It was a 20-minute workout. We did 3 minutes on the rower or the bike, and then we did 15 air squats and 15 push-ups. And then we just went right back to the bike, got on the bike again, and then just repeated that cycle for 20 minutes. That was the workout that we did today. And we after we got finished, Zay was checking his heart rate, and it goes up during the workout, but as soon as we're finished, it like drops really quick, which is a sign of fitness, and he is in great physical condition. And then we walked outside, and he said, I feel like I can do anything that I'm asked to do. And he's 61 or 2 years old, 61, I think. But he said, I feel like that I can do anything. Like whatever my task is for the day, I feel like I can do that. His example was, I feel like I could lift a car off of a person if I had to. And he's talking about having some divine strength going along with that. But he just feels like that's the way he feels. And then we walked outside to go for our cool down walk. And he said, the truth is I just feel good. And I said, I know it. But it's just funny what people say on the other side of that. And we started talking about some of those things, and I'm kind of accumulating them, but because I think it would be a good show. I said, look, we should think about that, because I really do. I think it'd be a good show to talk about the things people say. Because one of the things that was told to me this week was a guy told me that he was sore, his joints hurt, his body hurt, he was sore all the time. There was all these things going on. And then he said to me, but I'm 54. I don't know, what do you expect? And that's what I was just like, wait a minute. I'm 54. I'm not waking up in pain every day. I don't have joint pain. I don't have that kind of stiffness. I function well. There's every once in a while, there's a little spot in my low back. If I don't take care of myself, it gets a little twingy or whatever. But for the most part, I feel good too. But he just said that, not because it had any meaning. Like, he just said it because that's what we say. And I really want to challenge you. Like, no matter how old you are, if you are saying to yourself that the reason you feel like you feel is because of your age, I want to challenge you to find somebody your age that doesn't feel like you feel. And it doesn't matter what, if you think you're 39 and you think you're old, or you think you're 49 and old, or 69 and 79, whatever your age is, if you say to yourself, man, I'm just getting old. I'm just stiff and old and break down. I got arthritis in my joints and all this sort of thing, and I'm just getting old. I just want you to say you're 65 years old. Say you're 61 years old, and you say that. You say, well, I'm just getting old. And it's like, well, let me tell you, Zay's 61 and he's kicking butt, man. Like he is a liquid fish oil taker. Because he takes so much fish oil that it's a liquid based fish oil. So there's somebody out there right now who's your age, who's really kicking it. Like they're getting after it. They're doing great. They feel great. They're functioning great. Their brain's functioning great. They're doing it. And I think if there's anybody out there that's my age or older than me that feels great, then I don't think the reason I don't feel great is because of my health. I mean, my age. I don't think it's my age that makes me feel old. I think it's my level of health and my level of function and my level of inflammation that's inside my body that makes me feel old. And from a health standpoint, right? I feel old from a music standpoint. And we were going into Salata yesterday at lunch, and Leslie she pulled into the parking lot because she drives her new car these days, and I ride with her. But she pulled into the parking lot, and she was kind of on the line. And I said, you might want to reset this thing and move it back over, get it off this line. People might think you're stuck. People might think you're stuck up or something. You don't want to get your car scratched. I said, you don't want to get your car scratched because people might think you're stuck up or something. And I said, or at least that's what we used to say in the 80s. I was like, I don't know what they say today, but it's probably not stuck up, but we used to say that in the 80s. And she just laughed as we were going in there, and she thought that was funny. She's like, yeah, we did say that back in the 80s. If that might make me feel a little old talking to the young kids, but not because I don't feel good. And not because I don't believe I could be healthier next year. And I did talk to my chiropractor today when I got adjusted, and I told him about my blood pressure situation, which has gone down, and with working on that parasite thing, so that's a good thing, right? But he was giving me some pointers about some things that he had recommended in the past, so we were talking about that too. So that's good. I just things we say. We'll keep working on them. And if you guys have something, like if you got one of those sayings that people just say, that it's not true. They just say it, and then but the danger with that, and as they said it, he's like, the danger with that is if you say it. I got a book over here called Hung by the Tongue, and it's talking about the language that you speak and the words that you say out loud, right? And so it's like you got to be careful about what those things are. If you tell yourself those things, then you're going to manifest those things, and if you manifest those things, then you're really going to get yourself into trouble. And you don't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that kind of situation to where you're just saying things. Not me. I can't be the one. Fitness is for somebody else. I'm not me. I'm not athletic. Let me tell you something. CrossFit will blow your mind on that deal. If you would understand that, it'll really change your paradigm. What we're doing in the gym in here is where I get those people to see they are athletic. Now, they might not be on the same scale as some professional athlete or some college athlete or whatever, but they do have the ability to move their body through space. They do have the ability to do squats. Even my 82-year-old guy can do squats. We have to do squats to the bench, but we can do those things. We can do burpees. We can get on the floor and we can get off the floor. At first, we might not be able to do sit-ups, but over a while, we'll be able to do sit-ups. And you will see that you do have as a human being, you have athletic ability. But you might be saying to yourself, I'm not an athlete. I've never been an athlete. I don't even know how to be an athlete. And it's like, hey, that's not necessary. That's not true. It may be true that you've never been an athlete, but it's not true that you can't be one. And it's not true that fitness can't be for you. But you might be telling yourself that. There's no way I could do that. No, that's just something you're making up. You don't have to say that stuff. So anyway, that's enough for that segment. We're going to take a break, and then when we come back, I've got two articles I want to show you that are kind of, one of them's a little bit older, and one of them's kind of right off the press, that about structure and getting adjusted, and how it's a good idea for you to watch your posture, work on your posture. And so when we get back, we'll go over that. If you have any questions or comments, please send me a text, 806-794-0400. You can send me a comment on social media, like Lewis. I hope everything's good. We're going to come get those horns tonight, Lewis. You better watch out. Coming after them. We screwed it up last night, but we're going to get even tonight in softball. You guys stick around. We'll be right back right after these messages. Man, sports. I don't know if any of you guys are watching that softball, that national championship softball series that's going on between Tech and University of Texas, and got to the what, sixth inning last night. Yeah, bottom of the sixth. Texas was the home team. And when we just had a major mistake on a pitch out, and ended up losing the game because of the mistake. And of course, the pitcher says it's all her fault, but there was a bunch of people involved in that. The catcher was involved, the pitching coach was involved, the head coach was involved. There was a bunch of people involved in that mistake last night. But it's one of those deals where, man, when you're in the arena and you're the guy or the gal, that's one of my favorite quotes of all time. It's not the critic who counts, or whether it's not the critic who counts, or whether something points out where the strong man stumbled or the doer of deeds could have done them better. But the credit belongs to the one who's in the arena. That's face is marred with sweat and blood, who errs valiantly and tries something. I don't know. It just keeps going, but it's one of my favorite quotes. I have to read it every time because I can't memorize it. I've tried to memorize it, but Coach Dykes had it in our hallway when I was playing at Tech, and we'd come down the steps, go to our locker room, and it was right there. It's not the critic who counts. So last night, those girls, man, they played their tails off, and they just made a mistake, and that's part of athletics. And boy, it hurts. It's aggravating. It makes everybody mad. Everybody in the world's got opinions on it, but it's just, you're out there for the whole world to see, and sometimes you do it right, and sometimes you do it wrong, and that's just part of sports. But the other thing about it is you get another shot sometimes. So it's the best 2 out of 3, and we lost 1. So tonight, hopefully, the girls will regroup and get back after it. But you got that. We could take that example and talk about it tonight. We could say, look, what are they going to say to themselves? Are they going to talk themselves out of playing like they know they can? Are they going to talk themselves into playing like they know they can? That's whatever they think is probably going to be right. And that's going to go both ways too, both teams. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun they're probably already, I don't know what time they start tonight, but they may already be getting after it tonight. 7:00. So, all right. Let's get back on here. Okay, everybody. Let's talk about a couple of articles. This one comes from Posture Ray, and it's one of the ones this is what we use in the office, is posture analysis. And this is Posture Screen. It's our part of our X-ray analysis, and we also do pictures, and we can do all kinds of different things with it. We can do range of motion. We can do ergonomics. There's lots of things that we can do for it. But this is a research study. New global study reveals forward head posture impairs neck pain recovery. And the name of the article is The Magnitude of Sagittal Head Posture Displacement, just meaning your head being forward, and patient demographics predict rehabilitation outcomes in patients with chronic non-specific neck pain. So some of the highlights. The greater forward head posture was the most significant postural factor negatively affecting treatment outcomes. Each unit increase in anterior head displacement reduces the odds of treatment success by 13%. The younger age and female sex were associated with significantly greater odds of long-term recovery. So, a newly published multi-center study co-authored by Chiropractic Biophysics nonprofit and the University of Sharjah, has identified a significant link between abnormal sagittal head posture or forward head posture and poor treatment outcomes in patients with chronic neck pain. The study appears in Scientific Reports, a prestigious Q1 ranked Nature affiliated journal, and one of the top 5 most cited multidisciplinary research journals in the world. This project was conducted as a part of a person's graduate thesis for her Master's of Physical Therapy degree in the College of Health and Science at the University of Sharjah, in the UAE. The study was led by one of the professors, and they also used Deed Harrison as one of them. The study examined 86 patients with chronic nonspecific neck pain over an 8-week period, multimodal conservative treatment protocols, using prospective conservative case series designs across 5 physiotherapy clinics in the UAE, United Arab Emirates, I think, and Egypt, and they found the greater forward head posture was the most significant postural factor negatively affected treatment outcomes. So what does that mean? What does it mean to have forward head posture? And what does it say for us? Like, that's one of the things right there. It's like, okay, from when you take an x-ray of a person from their side, what you expect to see is, or what would be a normal thing to see, is you would expect to see the ear line up exactly with the shoulder. So if you were to take the middle of a person's shoulder from the side, you would want their ear to line up with that. And you could check it for yourself. You can just kind of look and see, get somebody to just stand there and look forward. And have a person come alongside you and take a picture of you from the side, and then just see where is your ear as compared to your shoulder. And what's going to happen is most of the time you're going to be forward. And forward head posture, when we draw an x-ray of it, and we put an x-ray up and we say, all right, what is forward head posture? And so what we're doing is we're measuring from the bottom of, hang on, I'm not even on the right x-ray. 1 second. Just talking to you like it's there it is. Okay. What we do is we put the curve on the bottom of C7. So the bottom back aspect of C7, it can be done on T1, but we do it on C7. And then we just set that curve angle of where the neck is supposed to be. And that there's a forward position. If you do the line on the back of each one of the bones right there, what you'll see that distance. Where that red line is, if the back of the bones are forward, then where it should be on the green line. If you're on, shoot, that's not even the right one either. Hang on a second. All right, now I got the right one. I'm sorry, I've had the wrong x-rays up there. This green line right down here is the normal. That red dotted line is where that person is on the back of each one of their bones. And then this point right here that's on the red line should be back here on this green line. That's forward head posture. So what the article that we're reading is saying is it's saying that there's research that says greater forward head posture was the most significant postural factor negatively affecting treatment outcomes. Each unit increase in anterior head displacement was reduced the odds of treatment success by 13%. So posture matters. Posture matters for a biomechanical, functional reason, and it matters from a neurological reason. If your posture is wrong, your neurology is wrong. That's a really big statement. Like if you could understand that, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean that if my posture is wrong, my neurology is wrong? Because the question is, how does it get forward? What is going on with it being forward? Why is my head forward? And let's all analyze our grandparents, old people. And if you're an old person, we're analyzing you. If you're a grandparent, and you don't have to be that old to be a grandparent, I understand it. But we've all seen our grandma and our grandpa and where their heads went as they got older, right? They used to be tall and straight, but as they got older, their heads kept going forward. And you say, well, it's just gravity. Well, okay, there's a part of it that's gravity. There is some gravitational forces being pulled down on the head, no question about that. But we've lost that forward head posture now. It is putting strain on the musculoskeletal system, but it's also putting strain. It is putting strain, but it's also a sign that your neurology is wrong. And people, I had a patient today, she told me she was worried about dementia. She's like, my granddad or somebody died of dementia, and my dad died of dementia, and I'm starting to forget some things. And I really am worried about having dementia. And it's like, okay, let's just take a lateral cervical x-ray of that person. Let's take an x-ray from the side of them, and let's just see what their posture looks like. Let's see what their curve looks like. Let's see what's going on with that forward head posture. Because we know, based on all the things that we know about the brain and the frontal lobe and the inhibiting the flexor muscles and you see what I mean? It's like now we can start to say, okay, why did the head go forward? What is it about the neurology that the head go forward? So let's stop for a second and let's just talk about the musculoskeletal part of it. We're putting loads and forces on our structure in an abnormal way, and we're causing our structure to have to adapt to that. For every 25 millimeters of forward head posture, right there, you put an extra 10 pounds of pressure on your low back. Just pick up something that's relatively heavy. Like pick up a gallon of water, or pick up a case of water, or pick up anything. Pick up a chair in your house and hold it right up next to you. And then take that same chair or that same case of water and just start moving it away from yourself. Just do it with your arms right now. Just sit up very tall and straight and put your arms right next to your torso, right on your chest. And then just start moving your arms slowly forward. Just move your arms forward. Do you feel the muscles in your low back start to tighten? Can you feel that when you put your hands out in front of you? Just leave them out there for a second. If you put your hands out in front of you and you just hold them out in front of you for a second, can you start to feel what we call the paraspinal muscles in your lumbar spine, your low back, they start to tighten. And if you have anything heavy in your hands and you put it out there in front of you, you hold a jug of water and hold it out in front of you, it's going to create biomechanical tension on your low back. You're going to get changes because what is your brain trying to do? Obviously, you've got to put your center of gravity over your feet so you don't fall over, right? If you don't have the ability to contract the muscles in the back and you put your hands out in front of you, then you're just going to fall forward. Some of you might do that. Some of you, be careful if you've got balance issues, because you put your hands out in front of you. Now all of a sudden you've got too much weight in front of you and you can't go into extension. You'll fall forward. So the body is trying to counterbalance itself all day long by where our head is in space. And so when I read this article, and this article is saying, hey, if you've got chronic neck pain, one of the biggest detriments to your successful treatment, one of the biggest problems you're going to have to try to get yourself healthier and get rid of your chronic neck pain is your forward head posture. It has a significant impact on whether or not you're able to solve your neck pain problem. Like if you guys work in an office and you work at a desk all day long and you're working on a computer and your head's forward, I mean, do you ever get that burning that you get right there in the back of your neck and at the top of your shoulders? That it's like, yeah, that's an abnormal biomechanical load. So you're like, man, I really wish my neck would get better. Well, get your posture up. Bring your head and shoulders back. Get your head to get more over your shoulders so that you restore the proper curve and you give your body the better chance to heal. So then you ask me, Jason, how did I do that? Well, there's a couple of things involved in that. Number one, you got to get the brain to fire properly. That's the, you guys, we've gone over this so many times. You're probably like, please don't go over it again. But I'm going to. I want to go over it again anyway, right? Because it's just so cool to me. It's so cool how it doesn't matter what article we read. It's just like, okay, we're reading an article on forward head posture and how it affects neck problems. And it's like, okay, what does it mean if we've got the brain and we've got the frontal lobes of the brain, and we say that the frontal lobes inhibit flexor muscles, this SCM muscle right here, that muscle right here on your neck, that's in the front, running from right underneath your ear. If you went right underneath your earlobe, there's a little point on the bone on your skull right there, right underneath your earlobe, and run right down to your sternum on the front. And you can kind of, if you tighten it, you can see it right there. It's like it's coming down all the way down to your sternum. And you've got other muscles that are running along there and kind of deeper down in there that are all involved with flexion. So what is flexion of my neck? Flexion of my neck is to bring my head forward and bring my chin down to my chest. If I want to flex my neck, I'm going to bring my chin down to my chest. Okay? So I'm going to do that by muscles. I'm going to use muscles to bring my chin to my chest. That's flexion. I can't just do it unless I just completely turn everything off and then just fall, right? But if I want to actively move that, then just put your hand on those SCM muscles and then tuck your chin down and see if you don't fire those muscles to pull that whole thing forward, right? All of that's going to start to fire. Okay, those flexor muscles have a resting tone. You ever pull up to a red light? You ever pull up to a red light and just sit there idled at a red light and watch your RPMs on your car, how it drops down and it stops at 1,200 or 1,000 or 1500, whatever your idling RPMs is on your car, like it just kind of goes like it doesn't go to zero. If the engine is on, it doesn't go down to zero. If you turn your engine off, your RPMs go to zero. There's nothing happening on the engine. But if you turn the engine up and you let it idle, it'll find its little area and it'll just settle in right there. That's normal. That you could say the same thing. That's normal muscle flexion. That's the normal tone in the flexor muscles. They're not off. They're idling. But have you ever like put your foot on the gas just a little bit while you're sitting at the stoplight, and then all of a sudden your RPMs go up? Like you just kind of hit your toe on the accelerator, and then all of a sudden it's like now you're at 2,000 instead of being at 1,200, or maybe you're sitting here at 2,500 because you're revving up your engine. You're increasing the RPMs because you're increasing the tone, the pressure on the accelerator. That same thing happens with these flexor muscles, and it's controlled by the frontal lobe. And if the frontal lobe gets weak, the flexor muscles get tight. And if the flexor muscles get tight, they idle at a higher RPM. It's a little bit more energy into the muscle, which makes the muscle contract. The pec muscle, the bicep, the forearm, the psoas, and then below the waist, the hamstring and the calf. Those are flexor muscles, right? So this frontal lobe and inhibition of the flexor muscle. So if the frontal lobes get weak, if the frontal lobes lose power, the flexor muscles contract. So what is a person that's in forward head posture? Okay, what is this person right here? This person that's in forward head posture, are they, to a certain extent, in flexion? Yes, they're in flexion. Is it the only problem? No. But is it a contributing factor? Yes. So that person is in flexion. That forward head posture is in flexion. So what does it mean to be, you're sitting there idle, you're not doing anything, but your head is forward? What does it mean? It means you're not inhibiting your flexors, which means you have altered neurological function. Your brain is idling too high. Actually, your brain is actually, let me say it again. Your brain is actually low and your muscles are idling too high. Your brain has lost power. We don't understand that. We don't understand until we get to the point where we have dementia. We don't understand that our brain lost power. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, look, if you're 35 years old and you got forward head posture, you've already started down the road towards dementia or Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or whatever, anxiety, depression, or whatever else thing goes on with having a lower than necessary brain function. It's a piece of the puzzle. Now, there's lots of pieces to the puzzle. You could have trauma along the way as a kid. You could have whiplash type situations that you've been through in your lifetime. There's lots of issues. You got neurological, nutritional deficiencies that are causing that issue for you. I'm not saying that it's the only piece of the puzzle. I'm just saying it's a piece of the puzzle. And if you want to try to, what the article is saying is if you've got neck pain as the result, nope. If you've got neck pain, period, not as the result of anything. If you've got neck pain, period, because that's a tricky thing. That's a tricky thing because you say, what's the result of my forward head posture? Like, nope, that's not the truth necessarily. Doesn't mean that it's the result of your forward head posture. It means that because you have forward head posture, your chances of successfully resolving your neck pain go down. Can you resolve your neck pain? Yes. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but it decreases the chances of resolving your neck pain when you've got the forward head posture. And the forward head posture is musculoskeletal and it's also neurological at the same time. If my pec muscles get tight, my shoulders roll forward. If my psoas gets tight, which runs from all 5 lumbar vertebrae down to your hip, let your psoas get tight. So now we're talking about there's an ilium, here's your sacrum, here's your lumbar spine. And what we're talking about is it connects to all 5 lumbar vertebrae and runs down in front of the ilium on both sides, and it connects to your femur. And that it has a lot to do with whether or not your lumbar spine is in flexion. It's pulling your lumbar spine towards your pelvis, or it's pulling your knees up, your femur up towards your lumbar spine. But if you're standing and your feet are on the ground and your psoas are tight, both of them, hang on one second. I got a tornado warning for me right here. It says I need to take shelter in this area. I think I'm okay. The storm is to the north of me. So I think we're okay for the next 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Maybe. We'll see. But if I've got tight psoas, then what I've got is I've got pulling of my hips, my hip angle will decrease. If my hip angle decreases, it puts my head forward. Now when gravity starts pulling on my head, it starts pulling me down. And if it starts pulling me down, then we really got a problem. So we want to make sure that that's the case. We don't want that happening. We want to make sure that our brain turns off our flexor muscles. We want to make sure that our posture gets back up and where it's supposed to be so that we can eliminate any of that problem that we might have that's going on with our neck pain. So, yeah. So, sorry, I got distracted there for a second. Say a tornado is about to hit us, but I can't tell. It looks a little breezy out there. I think we're going to be all right, though. All right. So that's what this article is talking about right here, and we'll look at it one more time. And it actually shows a good picture. This is what it looks like when you're not. This is what it looks like when you're not from an X-ray. Just if you're just trying to take a look at someone's neck from the side, that's what that's talking about right there. It's like you got that forward head posture, and if you've got the case, it's coming where anytime your ear and your shoulder are not lined up together, that decreases the chances that you're actually going to have some success in relieving neck pain. All right. I don't know for sure what's going on with the tornado situation. So we've got about 2 minutes left on the radio, but we're going to call it good for tonight on the social media. And then we'll just hang out for a second on the radio, and then we'll see what's going on. It'll give me a chance to check some stuff. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you have a great evening. We'll be back tomorrow night at 6, and we'll just continue with some of this. I've got another article that I'd like to talk about tomorrow on the need for getting chiropractic care. So you guys have a great evening, and if there's anything I can do for you, Thanks, Lewis, for all your comments about them horns. Yeah, we gave you the game. You didn't beat us. We gave you the game last night. Don't be getting too cocky. And well, I can't wait for tonight. So, all right, you guys have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.